Welcome back to another episode of Skywars with Musical GG. No, actually, this is Storytime with MGG, but I'm not gonna make this introduction long because last video was hella long, so I'm gonna make sure this isn't as long. So let's get right to it. Musical Magician, Part 2. If you recall from the last video, I wasn't very fond of summer of 2016. Let's just say a lot of poop happened during that time, and it dragged on into my first year at college. A lot of poopy action happened, and it was difficult to get past. I nearly wanted to resign, and I nearly got demoted. Not only were the events that happened over 2016 a contributor to my decision in taking a break around March of 2017, but so were events that revolved around a new friend group I was associated with yet still hold close to me to this day. Additionally, I was psychologically affected by my uncle's pass away, something that not all of those friends were aware of, and if they were, they didn't notice the effects it had on me or know of my thoughts while it happened. Also, I wasn't doing so hot in college during spring semester, hence why I'm nervous about the upcoming spring semester. Basically because I did well in fall of 2016, I didn't take spring seriously at first, assuming that I would do well anyway and that if I prayed while studying, then everything will be fine. I wasn't praying solely to do well, but also for my uncle and the rest of my family. Spring break occurred and I was mostly left alone rather than surrounded by friends, which gave me time to think alone while lying in bed, sitting in a Discord channel all alone. So these were the thoughts that happened while I was, thinking. Duh. I look back at 2016 and I think about how the past always found its way to me, haunting me and attempting to repeat events. It was evident to one of the managers when they heard of another situation I was in, and they came up to me, checking up on me, knowing that this, plus the situation that happened over summer, was going to do a number on my mentality. I later find out that the friend I was associated with over summer told the manager to check up on me because he was not able to get in contact with me. Honestly, this was during the time when I didn't want to talk to anybody. All these events were happening and they were just destroying me, and I just didn't want to talk to anyone. Somehow though, one of my friends managed to punch down those walls around my heart and grab me from my corner, bringing me to other people, creating the friend group that I was suddenly in. Unfortunately, none of these people knew about the state I was already in. They were nothing but a distraction, and I considered them a good distraction. They'd see me over the camera and notice the silly faces I'd make or the giggles I'd do, but not know much of what happens when the camera is shut or when I'm not sleeping. This was during a time when I didn't care about my sleeping schedule, but because of my carelessness, I was dozing off in class. To make things worse, my scholarship has requirements, and if I didn't reach them, then I'd be at risk of losing it. My college already demands around 40 grand for tuition, but my scholarship brings it down to around 20 grand. My real life friends were also posing a distraction, and I started to realize that maybe distractions weren't always the best. I was using my time editing videos, making sure my friends had someone to accompany them, both in-game and in real life, that I was failing to notice that my grades were falling. Here's an example that will forever be burned into my head of how my grades were. The week before spring break, I remember it very clearly. My grades in Calculus 2 were usually below 10 out of 20 points, except for one. My first test grade was around 75 out of 100 points. I had a few more quizzes, one more test, and the final. I received my second test the week before. It was on a Thursday. I saw my grade, and I felt my heart sink into hell. My friend behind me, who sits behind me, could feel the tension and negativity around me that he didn't even ask how I did. He didn't even talk to me. Normally I'd turn around and smile about how badly I've done or say, "This is not acceptable, but we'll do better." No optimistic me this time. This, plus receiving news of my uncle's death on the same week, created an inner turmoil. It was a 55 or a 45, around there. It was mad low. My friend later asked, there was a break in class, if I was alright, and I shook my head. I didn't say anything. He didn't notice the things I was doodling into my paper, things that I wished upon myself and that I could just be gone already. I was feeling the pressure of my scholarship, of my friends, of everything that was escalating around me. I was even thinking about running away because I don't think I was gonna be able to face anyone. There were more thoughts that haunted me, but I will bring that up in attachments. When class was over, I left and called my dad, since he was my ride home. I got in the car and he drove us home. I wouldn't trust myself driving the state I was in. I was quiet and I stared out the window. My dad could feel the change in my demeanor. He asked if I was alright, which he has never asked before in my life. I was never like this before. I was unbelievably numb, and my quietness was very noticeable. People wouldn't be able to realize this online, but if they saw me in person, then they'd probably back away. I was blank, and I answered in monotone. I was so quiet too. I said, "Yes, I'm fine." He said I didn't seem fine, and I said, "I am, just tired." He kept giving the side-eye look while driving, trying to read me, but he was unable to because I set up a stronger wall this time. When we reached home, I know he was trying to understand how I was feeling, or what could have gotten me feeling this way. I moved mechanically, acting on routine. But I grabbed dinner so that it seemed like I was completely normal, but I noticed him trying to look at me from his room. I went upstairs to my room, I slammed the door shut, and I left my food cold on the desk. I Snapchatted this group of friends about my grade and feeling like a failure, but I got the usual, "You're smart, you'll get through this," or "It'll get better" sort of messages. I do appreciate that, but when I'm in that mood, it wasn't gonna fix anything. It wasn't gonna fix whatever was strangling my heart at that time. So I didn't bother. I ended up just lying down flat on my bed, staring up at the ceiling and wanting it all to end right there. I was thinking about how far I got, and it didn't seem very far. I didn't notice a tear that came out, but it was just one tear. Then I noticed my phone blink and saw it was a text message from my friend. He asked if I wanted to talk, and I denied, but he persisted, and I continued to say I didn't want to talk. He called anyway, and I picked up. He asked if I was okay, and I just cracked there. "No, I'm not okay. Does that make you happy?" That's when the tears started to flow. He tried to calm me down, and I didn't realize that I needed to hear a voice to help me relax. He explained how we had a few quizzes left and 2 tests left. He said a few quizzes will be dropped, and we were going to get through this. He explained he was not happy with his grades either, but we will get through this. So I calmed down and agreed. He said, "Now forget about that test and go eat." I didn't want to, and he knew I wasn't going to, so he demanded that I eat and watch a movie rather than study and think about that test. I said I have to study, but he told me to quit being stubborn and go eat, that I had to take care of myself rather than hurt myself the way I was. I gave in, and I understood. He said to call him anytime I wanted to talk if I were ever feeling like this again. I said alright, just so that this call could end. Of course I never called him again, but I know I will always appreciate him for doing this for me. And unfortunately he didn't do well in the class, but I did. So fast forwarding to me lying down on my bed during spring break, waiting for a friend to join a Discord channel that I was sitting in alone. I thought of all these memories that transpired. I thought of the moments that happened in 2016. I thought of how I put these friends before my education. I thought of what my parents would say about these friends and what religion said about friends in general, that it led me to only one choice, and that was isolating myself, distancing myself, and cutting contact on social media platforms. It was a very tough decision because I was so attached to these friends, and some of them were unfortunately attached to me too. I didn't think they cared for me that much since I had low self-esteem as it is and everything. I didn't realize the effect I had, and I still wouldn't believe it. Anyway, I told them the plan a day before it was going to happen, which made them unhappy because that was such a short time. I said I wanted the week to be normal, and since we didn't do much during the week, that's about as normal as it got. One of my friends didn't want to hear me go away, so they left. 2 others kind of cried and I felt bad, but I just couldn't keep doing this. I told the staff manager about these thoughts and they were surprised I didn't go to them about these things sooner. To which I explained I didn't feel comfortable going to anyone about what was bugging me. I didn't tell the staff manager about my uncle or my friends, just the stuff that happened over 2016 that still bothered me because I was forced to stay quiet about it, while those who were involved went around spreading rumors. Anyway, I left and started to pick things up. I asked for tutors, not because I was incapable of grasping the material, but because I wanted motivation. I went to my teachers more, asking questions from tests, homework, and quizzes. I started rewriting my notes, writing problems on computer paper, stapling tests and quizzes together to review them, and retaking tests. I started recording lessons so that I could listen to them again later to better grasp my notes with their permission. I started working on the programming assignments alone, which kind of made an enemy with one of my friends, who was very laid back about this at first, but I didn't care. That's another story of its own. It was painful though. I tried to call 1 or 2 of my friends when I had the time, only because I felt bad hearing them cry and I did miss them. But it was like once a month or so. I tried to challenge myself by going onto their Discord for a week, seeing how well I can manage my time with them and my education. yeah, that didn't go too well. Anyway, finals week came and I was ready to take them on, and so was my mom. Things transpired that week, but to keep it short, yeah, it's not going to be short from what I wrote. A lot of things happened. I'll just tell you that, something happened while driving, and then she was talking about how I didn't side with her, and then she said, in the end, never to clarify myself, never to defend myself, and that it was pointless trying to explain myself, that I should just be quiet. So, with that mentality, I kept that in mind, and it traveled on to how I handled things with my friends. So, like, if one of my friends, and it did happen, one of my friends came to me. They were complaining about the joke I made, even though it was the same joke that other people made and he was fine with. So I thought it was okay if I could do the same. But when he told me how he felt about it, I felt bad, so all I said was, I'm sorry and it won't happen again. Ever since then, no argument happened because I stopped talking to people. Whoops. But I did keep to my word, did I not? But anyway, the fourth break was a resignation, as the third break was a test to see how well I'd do without the staff team. Clearly, I didn't need the team, and the team didn't need me. Before leaving, a week prior, I got to know the new helpers, the new generation, and I was happy to see their capabilities. I made sure to leave on a good note. I wrote a whole thing about leaving and how this was my final decision, so I'm not going to go in depth about the resignation. The aftermath was just me realizing some major things that I didn't notice before. I realized that I was stuck in a bubble this whole time while I was dealing with online experiences, that the wind of reality picked me up from the ground, throwing me into the air, and after the few weeks went by, I fell down painfully. During the few months before my latest break, I was contemplating a lot of things. I was thinking about my past. I was thinking about the kind of person I was, realizing I wasn't much of a person. I realized my life was dictated and that I had no real control over it. I looked at the people I loved and realized I didn't know what love was anymore. I looked at the faith I followed and realized I didn't know what it was like to believe anymore, what faith was anymore. Then I thought about my life and I realized I had no idea what living was, or what it felt to be alive. I was so busy thinking about just getting over this life, looking forward to some afterlife, that I never cared about living. My friends told me, I'm too pure, or I'm so innocent. To them, it's adorable. My older friends tell me I'm sheltered. To them, it was both concerning and a little amusing. My parents tell me, I need to be innocent, I need to be supervised, I need to be under their control, and that I will be married off to a man who I need to take care of, as this was a part of the plan, their plan, the plan they lived through and put their children in. I'm nothing more than a pawn in a plan. I will still be under someone else's control, never given a moment to breathe air myself. These thoughts and realizations of how I viewed friends, how I viewed the world, how I viewed myself, and so much more, resulted into the latest break as well as my performance in college. And that will be all for Musical Magician. The next episodes are gonna be hella wild. I believe the next episode will have to do with attachments. I'm sorry this was quite short. I believe some people were expecting this to be quite long, but like I said, the longest thing I wrote about was my parents, not really my friends, because they didn't do much to hurt me. It was just me hurting myself. And attachments is gonna cover many of the friend groups and my mentality overall in general, which mixes with my upbringing and my religion and everything. I cannot explain any further, but it's gonna get a little tough. I did try recording for attachments, but the only problem with that was I don't think I did enough justice for it. Do tell if you want to hear a story about, the meaning behind my name. It's really not that big of a deal, so I could always record that. If you want me to explain what happened over summer of 2015 and summer of 2016, or just one and then the other, or whatever I posted on Twitter. And if you have any suggestions, please do feel free. Please do post in the comment section below. If you've been experiencing similar things in school and you're wondering if you should take a break, then I highly suggest take it, dude. Don't risk it. Don't make stupid decisions. If you think it's best to take a break because you're unable to focus on your education, then take that break. If you have the opportunity to, then take it. Do not waste your time. Do do not make a risky decision. But I'm not gonna blame the staff team for how I was doing. It was primarily my own choices. It was friends and all that. I mean, how I was mentally. It wasn't even my friends, sorry. It was just me, mentally. My friends had nothing to do with it. They didn't force me to stay on. Okay, at times they do say, don't leave, but I mean, it's not like they're holding me. Anyway, thank you all for listening. Please feel free to comment. Please do leave a like. Please subscribe. And thank you for 100 subscribers. Heck yeah. I was surprised to see me hit that much. I'm probably gonna lose some anyway, but you know, whatever. Thank you for supporting me. I very much appreciate it. And I am very sorry for the 24-minute video last episode. I didn't mean to go that far. But the longest was an hour. So I think I did some good just cutting it a little more. But yes, that will be all for today. Have a great day, everyone. Sleep well if it's night. And look forward to the next day. Don't think about the end. Think about what's next. Alright? Alrighty. Have a great day, everybody. Peace.